Hello and welcome, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to have you with us. Which is the best spray bottle or spray trigger for wheel cleaners with a thick and gel-like consistency? Now, even if the question of the best product is never an easy one to answer, this one actually is, as will be the test I will now conduct. I have several different spray bottles, I have several different spray trigger heads. I will compare them, I will use them with these wheel cleaners in order to see which one of those work best with such wheel cleaners, so that you know which one to go for. So as you can see, I grabbed myself every kind of spray trigger and spray bottle I have here in this place in order to conduct this test for you. Now, in general, this topic and this video once again is about a compromise. Because on the one hand, we as consumers want thick gel-like wheel cleaners because they cling to the wheel surface and therefore have a long time in which they can work. And on the other hand, we want wheel cleaners which create a very fine mist when we pull such a spray trigger, because then we use less product and we don't have to pull these spray triggers 100 times for one wheel. If this compromise is possible, I will try to find out in this video, and we will start by going through all of those different spray bottles and spray triggers I have prepared for this test. So let's in a first step go through the different spray bottles and spray triggers I prepared for this test. The first one is the one that the ADBL and K2 products come with. ADBL has an orange rubberized insert there. The K2 bottles come with a white or gray one, and on which you can adjust between spray, off, and a stream function. Then there's a spray trigger that has become quite popular, especially in the UK, as for example Easy Car Care, Detail Bar, Dunking Biscuit, Revive, and also I think Bouncers do come with these triggers. They have an embossed writing in there. You can adjust them between on and off, but I already saw that these create a very fine mist, which is why I think they are promising for this test. Then we have a very traditional, a very classic spray trigger head, which for example these smaller bottles by Auto Finesse, but also by Angel Wax are coming with, which you can secure there, and which traditionally create a very fine mist. The disadvantage is that it is very small compared to, for example, this one, and that you can only play at max 2 fingers there. So it will be interesting to see how that one copes with the thick wheel cleaners. Then another traditional one, which for example the bottles by Wax Planet, by Yum Cars or Polish Angel do come with. You can adjust them here to decide if you want a fine spray, if you go just like that, or you want a stream. So we will also have a look at them. Then one spray trigger head I really like is the one you can buy from CarPro. It's written there, which is very similar to the Canyon ones and does indeed create a fine mist. However, I did not yet test them with thick wheel cleaners, so it will be interesting to see how that one works. Then I have 2 Canyon spray trigger heads. The first one is this, which for example comes with a lot of the shiny garage ones. You can see there that it is made by Canyon. And I also have the Work Stuff bottles, which also come with this Canyon spray trigger head, however in black, so we will see if it makes a difference in regards to the color. Then another very popular one, Infinity Wax, I think for example does deliver its bottles with such a spray trigger head, but also Liquid Elements. You can also adjust it between an off, a stream, and a spray setting. And Liquid Elements themselves have a very thick gel-like consistency wheel cleaner, the Dust Cracker Extreme, which they deliver with such a spray head, so it will be interesting to see how that one works. Then another one, a well-known brand, are the Kwazar bottles. The orange ones are for garden use, however they work fine as long as you don't use extremely aggressive chemicals in them. And they come with their well-known spray trigger head, which has a double function. So it sprays if you pull them, and it also sprays if the trigger head goes back. But also known to create a very fine mist, so we will also test that. Then we have an additional, but another one by Canyon, which is delivered with the Kwazar bottles. This one was given to me by Daniel, a community member here from Switzerland, so thank you very much for that. Then I have one from Dr. Wack, which you probably don't know, but it's a very popular brand here in Germany. P21S is one of their product lines, and they also have a wheel cleaner within this product line, which is very, very thick. And that's the pump sprayer they sell with that, or you can buy the wheel cleaner with that. So it will be interesting to see how that works. And then I have two additional pump sprayers. One is again by Kwazar, which is the Venus one. The red one is the one for acid products. Then there's a black one, which I think is for alkaline products. And they have the blue one, which is the regular one. This one I installed there. The bottle does not come standard with it, so you can attach an electric pump there. But it's also, as you can see, a pump sprayer. And then I also have a solo pump sprayer there. So I have a huge variety of spray triggers and spray trigger heads for this test. You probably don't know these two wheel cleaners because they are very popular in Central Europe, especially Germany, Austria and Switzerland. This one is one of the most beloved ones. It's from Tura, a German manufacturer. And as you can see, it is quite a thick consistency, but not the thickest one, which is I also included this one because I will do the test with this green one as I have almost 2.5 liters of it. So I have enough for the test. However, these spray triggers, which work very well with this one, I will also test with the K2 Rotom Pro, which is a very good wheel cleaner or de-ironizer. However, it's very, very thick. So I will test the winners of this comparison as far as this wheel cleaner goes, also with this one to double check my results. I would have loved to include wheel cleaners which are more popular in the US or the UK. However, I currently don't have such a thick gel-like wheel cleaner here. So I hope it's okay for you if I use these two. So in a first step, we will now quickly check if all those spray bottles and spray triggers actually work. I filled them all with water. We start with the Kwazar Venus. I already pumped it. Yeah, I think you see it. This one works. The solo. Yeah. Also does. Then the Dr. Wack, also pumped up. Yeah, you see this one works. However, you already see that it is not that wide of a spray. Will be interesting to see how that works. Then we have the Kwazar Canyon. Yeah, works. Very fine mist. And we have the Mercury with this one. Yeah, very fine, also works. Then I will do all the other ones with this Work Stuff dilution bottle. There we have the logo. I can't attach the small one, but that was logical. So yeah, this one works. However, very interesting observation. It does create a very fine mist. However, it does not spray very wide. You see that it is very narrow down there. Yeah. So that's maybe something we have to keep in mind for later. Then we have, I will call this one the Polish Angel spray head. Yep, very nice, works. Then we have, I will call this one the Liquid Elements one. Oh, no, you already see that this one seems to be broken. I will use another one, exactly the same. Let's see if that works. Yes. And that's why it's always important if you do such tests that you do double checks, because if I would now have gone ahead and used the broken one, that the results would not have been fair for this one. So side note there for all of you guys who do testing. Then we have the, I will call this one the UK spray trigger head, as such, so many brands use these. Yeah, also works good. We have the one that is used by ADBL and K2. Yeah, this one works, however, there seems to be a quality control issue with these because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you get one where you can adjust between spray and stream, sometimes you don't. So that's something I would wish from ADBL that they would be better at. But as we saw, this one works. Then we have the two canyons, the white one. Yeah, works very fine. Then we have the black one that this bottle comes with. Also works extremely well. And finally, we have the CarPro one. Yeah, also. Okay, all of them work, so we can now start with the test. I will use most spray trigger heads with the work stuff bottle, which is why I will fill this one all the way up, but I will also include some of the wheel cleaner in the other ones. So as you can see, we went outside. For once, I don't want to spray around bad, stinking wheel cleaners inside this place. And I also don't want to wash them out. On the other hand, as you can see, it is freezing cold. We have -5 degrees here in Switzerland, so I had to clothe myself accordingly. But you can also see I prepared shooting targets. So as you can see, we invest a lot of money in these tests. And I will now spray all of the spray bottles and spray triggers from 1/2 meter of distance, because I personally think that is the maximum distance that you will have when you spray your wheels on your car. And then we see which one of those copes the best. I can already tell you very interesting results. We start here where I used the work stuff bottle with the black canyon head, and just to show you how this worked, this was the distance I used it in. So as you can see, it does indeed create a relatively or comparably fine mist. However, it is relatively concentrated in one area. It did the 9 pretty good, the 8 it touched a little bit. And we can now go through the different results. You can also see the Kochchemi canyon head down there, also very concentrated. The Kwazar did a tiny bit better. Let me show you once again. So it definitely does the 9, the 8 and touches the 7. So this one I would say is a rather good option. The pump sprayers all worked in a similarly way, meaning they use a lot of product and not necessarily do create a finer mist. I can show you that with the Kwazar Venus. So as you can see, very concentrated spray. The Dr. Wack is an interesting one because you can already see by the nozzle back there that it works in a different way, and you can already see where this is going. Yeah, the wind is not its best friend. So it creates a rather wide mist in one direction, but not so in the other directions, as you can see. Plus, it uses a shitload of product, so you will use up the wheel cleaner rather quickly. The Solo Vario works in a similar way. So you can see, yeah, no, not similar. This is horrible. This is one concentrated spray, not very good. The red and white canyon works as well as the black one. And the CarPro actually surprised very much in this test. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, look at it. Very fine mist. 9 is okay, 8 is okay, and a lot of the 7 and even the 6 was touched there. However, it is a tiny bit tilted towards the right. But this one worked extremely well. Then we have the UK, or I call it the UK spray trigger. Not better than the other ones. The white one, the Liquid Elements one, as I name it, also a tiny bit better. You can see it. The spread is a bit wider. The ADBL one, as expected, I would say on one level with the other traditional ones. The Polish Angel spray trigger did something rather interesting. Let me show you this. So that's the distance. Yeah, it uses a lot of product. It's not actually that bad in terms of spread, but just uses very, very much of the product. A lot like the pump sprayers. And then the one you know from Angel Wax and Auto Finesse. This one does the following thing. Yeah, as you can see, one concentrated spray, so it cannot cope with the thick wheel cleaner. This means that we have, I would say, clear winners. The CarPro one, I would say, is leading until now. The Kwazar worked rather well. And then I would say also the Canyon ones, the black and the red and white one, with some interesting results from the Dr. Wack one. But as I said, this one, as the other pump sprays, use a lot of product. So I think we will now test these three with the K2. Just to show you the standard spray trigger that is on the K2 bottle, and this represents a lot of spray triggers that come with those thick gel-like wheel cleaners. As you can see, it just does one concentrated spray because the spray trigger can't cope with the thick consistency in there. So let's go ahead and test the other ones. So we start with the CarPro one. Same distance. Yeah. You see what happens as soon as those products become too thick, those spray trigger heads don't work properly anymore. However, you clearly see that this one works a lot better than the standard one that is on there. So I'd still say this is a more user-friendly, better functioning one than the standard one. So you see I already sprayed with the Black Canyon on there. I will do it again for you. Yeah, once again, you see these spray trigger heads struggle when it comes to very thick consistencies. However, once again, far, far better than the standard one. And you can also see, maybe I'll do another section there. It foams the product a bit more up than the CarPro did. Then the Dr. Wack. Yeah, and once again, you see it does create a good spread, however, just in one direction and not in the other one. And you use a lot of product with this one. So this will be a conclusion with a big, fat and loud but. We clearly saw that this traditional spray trigger head that comes with a lot of bottles by, for example, Angel Wax or Auto Finesse, did not cope well with the thick gel-like wheel cleaners. But please be smart and interpret these results in the right way. This does not mean that this is a bad spray trigger. And this does also not mean that every wheel cleaner out there that comes with this spray trigger does not work properly. Because it's not important that such a spray trigger copes well with any kind of wheel cleaner. It's just important that this one works with the wheel cleaner that the manufacturer gives you. And this, for example, is the reason why the Angel Wax Bilberry wheel cleaner that comes with such a spray trigger is in a rather liquid form and not a thick gel-like consistency, because Angel Wax was smart enough to test it and then give you a product that actually works with the provided spray trigger. And it's the same with the Solo pump sprayer. These results do not mean that this is a bad one. It just means that this one does not cope well with thick gel-like consistency wheel cleaners. But to be fair, none of the pump sprayers really did, maybe with the exception of the Dr. Wack. However, with all of them, you use way too much product that I personally think that these are not a good alternative when it comes to thick gel-like wheel cleaners. When we talk about very liquid, very water-like wheel cleaners, that's maybe a different story. But which spray triggers are now good if you have such a wheel cleaner? And I think the results were clear that the one provided by CarPro, that the traditional Canyon spray trigger head and also the ones that you get with the Kwazar spray bottles, These three clearly worked the best, and this Canyon one also did work far better than the one that is provided with the Koch Jimmy bottles. And I actually think that, for example, Autobrite delivers their thick, their gel-like wheel cleaners with such a spray trigger, and this is a very, very good idea. But also, I think RRC Bad Boys delivers their bottles with such a spray trigger, and these work excellent with those thick, with those gel-like consistency wheel cleaners. But we also once again saw something that is very prominent in car care, and this is compromises. Because if you have a very liquid, a water-like wheel cleaner, then any of those spray triggers and spray bottles will be fine. They will create a fine mist and you won't use a lot of product. However, if you work with such thick wheel cleaners, if you want their ability to cling to the wheel surfaces and give them more time to work with, then you enter the territory of compromises, meaning that those spray triggers will be limited in their ability to create a fine mist. So asking for a spray trigger that creates the exactly same fine mist as with a thick wheel cleaner compared to a very liquid wheel cleaner is just something that physically will not work, and it is once again a compromise you will have to accept. One additional tip in this regard, what you can always try is mix and dilute those products with water, because as soon as you water them down, they become more liquid, and then these spray trigger heads definitely will work a tiny bit better. However, when you do that, always test first. Maybe spray one wheel with the pure wheel cleaner, prepare yourself a spray bottle with the diluted mix. I would always start with a 1-to-1 mix of product and water, spray this one on another wheel, and then test and compare for yourself if the cleaning ability of the diluted product is suitable for you, and if yes, then you can go ahead and use this instead of the pure product, because as I said, then the spray triggers will work better. If you dilute your products with water, one additional tip from me, always use distilled water, because then you can make sure that the water you use to dilute those products is of a good quality. But that just as an additional tip, what you could do if these spray triggers don't work well with very thick wheel cleaners. But I think we gave you three nice alternatives when it comes to spray triggers that work rather well with those thick wheel cleaners. And I think this is it for this video. If you liked it, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.